Hello, Mr. Piers Morgan. My name is Moriel Fisher, and I was born in 1967, and I live in Jerusalem. I saw your interview that you did with Bassem Youssef and a little bit with some of the Muslims. First of all, I want to say very professional. Thank you very much. But for a long time, I wanted to respond to this interview. I do some small video about this, but I decided also to do a personal video for you. First of all, I want to say all those, all what we passed in the 7th of October and all this year, I think that the best thing it will be a political resolution. But unfortunately, this conflict is not about land, is not about a Palestinian state, a big state, a small state, West Bank, Gaza Strip. It's not about this. It's about values and religious. This war is between Judaism and Islam. This place always was very important for the Jewish. This conflict started in 1851, but with the year it only became more and more. The Mufti of Jerusalem, Hajj Amin al-Husseini, in 1920 said that the mosque of Al-Aqsa is in danger because of the Jewish. Already in 1920, and like this, when he said this, the conflict even became harder and bigger. In 1929, Jewish was murdered in Hebron in Tzfat. This is a picture of 67 Jewish that was murdered in Hebron. The grave was digged by the Muslim that during the digging they sing happily because they buried 67 Jewish.
But there must be something. I mean, they must do something. It is their fault. It has to be something. I mean,
Even before the creation of Israel, the Muslims, the Palestinian Muslims, got received a lot of help from other Muslims from all over the region. In 14, in May 1948, Ben-Gurion declared the State of Israel. The day after, four strong army from Arab country invade to the young state. All the purpose of this invasion was to destroy Israel. It was not to create a Palestinian state. Also today, we see that the only thing that united the Muslims is to be against Israel and to destroy Israel and the hate to Israel. Look, something very funny. The Iranian, that they are Shiite, they help the Arab that they assumed that basically these two groups are fighting with each other for 1,300 years. They kill each other like crazy. But when it's came to kill Jewish, they are united. Look what happened during the Arab Spring. This is a spring, very nice spring. Millions of refugees that fled to the Christian countries. Inside all this murder was thousands and hundreds of children, but nobody cared about him very much because the Muslim can kill other Muslims and nobody care. But when Israel tried to protect herself, it's forbidden. Another reason why it's a religious war that after the creation of Israel in the Arab country, they started pogroms against the Jewish over there. The citizen, this Jewish citizen over there, this Jewish was not Zionist, but they was just Jewish. Almost 700,000 refugees, Jewish refugees, had to flee from the Arab country. Some of them came to Israel, some of them went to other countries, but nobody heard about them. Over there, they left their houses, their business. Nobody was scared. You never heard about them, probably. And here, there is less than 700,000 Palestinian refugees, and today there is 5 million of them. How can it be? The 7th of October, the Palestinian was butchered, murdered, raped, and cooked baby in the oven. And now look what demonstration there is all over the world against Israel. It's a little funny that the Muslim that run away from the Muslim, like Bassem, and protect and protest against Israel, that is the only democratic state in the region. So why the Muslims attack Jewish in the Christian country if it's not because they're religious? Between 1948 until 1967, Jordan controlled the West Bank and Egypt controlled the Gaza Strip. Very simple question. Why they didn't give the Palestinian states over there? Actually, because they don't care about the Palestinian. Now, all the world very surprised about the attack and the brutality of the Palestinian Hamas and what they did. Actually, I'm not surprised. The same things they did to Jewish many times. I want to show you a video about what happened to two Israeli soldiers that by mistake arrived to Ramallah.
20 years ago today, two Israeli soldiers were reporting to their base in Bethel. One was about to become a father, the other one was a father of three young children, Vadim Gerzhitz and Yossi Abrahami. Tragically, they didn't know their way so well and made a mistake. It turned out to be the mistake of their life. They reached the entrance of Ramallah. In Ramallah, they were pulled out from their car and brought to the police station in town. They were taken to the second floor. Very quickly, the rumor spread that there are two Israeli soldiers arrested in the Palestinian police station. The mob began to arrive. They demanded the policemen to bring them down, the two soldiers. They wanted to lynch them. Not only the police did not stop the angry crowd, they decided to carry out the lynching themselves. They beat instead the Israeli soldiers with metal poles and knives, and then they threw the body of one of the soldiers to the angry crowd. The mob tore the body to shreds and lit it on fire. 20
Look at this picture. In the left side, you can see how they throw the body of one of the soldiers, and in the second, you can see a man show on his hand the blood on his hand of the blood of one of these poor soldiers, and the crowd over there shouting happily. With these people, someone ask us to make peace. Bassem talk about this, the Israeli citizen sit on a hill and watch how the Iron Dome protects Israel against the Palestinian rocket, and they sitting, they eat popcorn, and they're celebrating. Unbelievable. So according to Bassem, we are not allowed to protect ourselves from the Palestinian rocket. But the Palestinians, they are allowed to shoot on us and to kill us. I want to show you some picture. These picture are taken after attacks on Israeli citizens, and the Palestinian give sweet to the crowd happily after the attacks on Jewish. So this is okay for Bassem. You see, ask an average Muslim what he think about Israel and how the world and if the world will be a better place without Israel, they will say yes. Bassem is talking very nice. He's the second clever guy on earth. But he's still a Muslim. He's still against Israel and against the Jewish. I want to show you a very small part of an interview that he did, that he done a few years ago. Listen carefully how we compare the Jewish.
والآن مع البرنامج مع باسم يوسف.
באסם יוסף לא היה אמור להיות הקומיקאי הכי מצליח של מצרים. בהכשרתו הוא בכלל מנתח לב, שאת לימודי הרפואה שלו למד בארצות הברית.
My brother is an engineer. If we had a third brother who was a dentist, we'd be almost a Jewish family. But we're not.
Please listen again. It's a little bit anti-Semitism. You don't think so?
My brother is an engineer. If we had a third brother who was a dentist, we'd be almost a Jewish family. But we're not.
התפנית
Sorry to be not politically correct, but Islam is not a religious that tolerant other religions. I want you to see a picture. This picture took in Jerusalem at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And look on the ladder that over there. This is the symbol of the intolerant of the Islam on this occasion against the Christian. Please have a look. I'm sorry not to be again politically correct, but the Muslims have a pattern always to complain, always to blame someone else, and always not to be happy about the situation. And it doesn't matter what you're going to do. The Muslim cannot accept, they cannot understand religiously of the existing of the Jewish state. That's why they are so united against it. Although there is so many groups that try to kill each other all the time for hundreds of years, but against Israel they are united. Bassem give an example of the cruelty of the Israeli, of the Jewish, on the village of Deir Yassin. So don't be surprised, but it's not true. There was a fight over there, yes, and there is civilian that died, yes. This is what's happened. Even the Arabs themselves, the people, the villagers that live over there, said that all what was told in the press all of this year is not true. How many Israelis and Israeli children have to die that Bassem will give us the permission to protect ourselves? I am very sorry that we be able to produce a wonderful system that protect us from the rocket that people like Bassem throw on us. And I want to say that because of people like Bassem, there is so much immigration, Jewish immigration to Israel, because they don't have another place to go. And more Jewish come to Israel, more we became stronger, and only the Muslims are seeking in blood. After the events of the terrible of the 7th of September, that even today we are not exactly understand what's happened over there, just try to think what will happen to us if we're gonna lose the war against the Islam. Will the world will help us like they help the Palestinian? I don't think so. They will say it's good for them, it's because they did what they did, and they won't help us. I am sorry that Israel is not a perfect country like the Muslim country. We have our own problem inside the society, races between part of the society, but we always try to fix it. One day we will succeed. Bassem talk about the peace that Israel have with Jordan and Egypt. Do you know how many Egyptians was killed by Israel since 1973? Zero. Do you know how many Israeli was killed, murdered by Egyptian? At least 60. Recently, two. How many Egyptian was killed by the Palestinian? A lot. And still, the Egyptians hate us. How many Jordanian was killed by Israel? Zero. I want to show you a picture of 7 young girls that was murdered on what we call the island of peace between Israel and Jordan by a Jordanian soldier. Please have a look. The murderer went out of jail after 20 years and received as a hero. Also, most of the attacks against Israel in Egypt was from the security forces. What they learn over there against Israel? And I want to ask another question. How many Muslim was killed by Jewish in Europe? Zero. How many Jewish was killed by the Muslim in Europe? Also quite a lot. How many Muslim was killed by Christian in Europe? Also zero. How many Christian was killed in Europe by the Muslim? You know the numbers. How many Muslim was killed in the Arab world by the Christian? Also nothing. And yet, how many Christian was killed and murdered by the Muslim in the Muslim country? Thousand, thousand and thousand. And even it's look like that the Christian world, it doesn't care about this. Quite weird. In Israel, the Arab and all the citizens are equal. You know it. There is 120 member in the parliament, and the Arabs, they are 20% of the population in Israel. And there is about 20% Arabs and Muslim inside the parliament. So how can it be if we are an apartheid state? And I want to tell you a small story. A few days ago, my daughter, that she is a soldier, feel not very well. So I took her to the clinic, and guess who was the doctor over there? Who was the staff over there? They was all Arabs, all of them. When I was born, my parents told he won't go to the army. It will be peace between us and between the Arab world. When my daughter was born, I didn't say it. I knew exactly what is waiting for us. And Piers, please, you went to visit Bassem, very long trip, and I want to invite you personally to come to visit me. Come to visit us. Let's talk about apartheid, about human rights, about democracy, about all these things here in Israel. I want to show you how good is Israel. Although there is a lot of bad things in here, we are not perfect. But please, come to visit us. Thank you and shalom.